Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing a GeForce RTX 4060 in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 beta. This one is the MSI Ventus 2X version of the card. I'm running it with the latest Nvidia drivers and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs here in Tech Power-Ups, GPU Z, and over on the left, I'm pairing it with a Ryzen 7 9800X 3D and 32GB of RAM. And I know this is extremely overkill for an RTX 4060. I was going to pair this card with the i5-12600KF system that I have, but the game was always crashing on startup on that PC and I couldn't really fix it, so here we are. It doesn't really matter, it would run the same with an i5 12th gen CPU. As long as you don't have a CPU bottleneck, you're gonna get the same FPS. With that out of the way, let's go over the settings. I'm playing at 1080p resolution to start this off, utilizing the Ultra settings preset with NIS set to native, so this is just sharpening the image, and these are the rest of the settings. Normal textures as well, because it's better for 8GB GPUs to keep that on normal. And let's go! Alright, here we go, guys. Right away, I can notice a lot of noise on the weapon because of NIS and 1080p resolution, but the game is looking quite nice, actually, in terms of detail on the ground and so on. There's a little bit less detail than with the 5090 because, first of all, we're not at 4K resolution, and second, the ultra settings aren't the maximum settings in the game. There's extreme settings above it, basically. So it can look a little bit better, but I think it looks very good already. And for a 4060 GPU, this is fantastic performance and fantastic visuals to performance ratio. So the optimization is quite good, guys. In this one, I'm really happy to see that. Okay, we managed to not die over there. Pretty smooth experience. Zero stutters. I was a little bit worried yesterday after seeing 20 gigabytes. Oh my god, this looks awful over here. Super pixelated. But after seeing 20 gigabytes of VRAM allocation on the 5090 video, I was skeptical that the 8GB GPUs would need like low textures or even very low textures to run properly, but as you can see, we're running around the map. It's only consuming 6.5 gigabytes of VRAM right there, so we still got a little bit of spare VRAM here on the 4060. But yeah, guys, if you're into Call of Duty, this is going to be a phenomenal experience with one of the most popular GPUs on Steam. Fun fact, it was the most popular GPU on Steam just last week, basically, or yesterday, but now the new hardware survey for September is out, Steam hardware survey, that is, and now the most popular GPU is actually the laptop variant of the RTX 4060, which is very interesting. I think this is the first time that we've seen a laptop GPU on the top of the Steam charts. So that's something new, and that means that I will need to grab a 4060 laptop GPU to test here in the channel very shortly. So in October, I should be able to do that. By the way, I said that this is the first time that we're seeing a laptop GPU in the top of the Steam charts, hardware survey, but that's actually incorrect. A couple of months ago, or 3 months ago, that happened as well with the same RTX 4060 GPU. Laptop GPU, that is. But yeah, it's the same GPU, that's what I meant. Okay. But alright, guys, I think that's about it for 1080p, native resolution, ultra settings. It is a fast, high refresh rate experience. Not the fastest, of course. It's not going to max out even a 120 Hz monitor, but it's going to be stable. It doesn't stutter at all. VRAM is enough. They've done a great job once again of optimizing this game, and that's very important, because if they didn't, they would stand zero chance against Battlefield, or maybe -1 chance against Battlefield. I'm kidding, okay? There's games for everybody. A lot of people like Call of Duty, and that's absolutely fine. Sometimes I can enjoy a little bit of Call of Duty, actually. Oh boy, there we go. See, when I manage to make these awesome looking kills, I'm enjoying it. But most of the time I'm just getting wrecked, you know? Especially when the skill-based matchmaking gets to me, so yeah. What should we try next? I think I'm gonna do a little bit of DLSS. We could do DLAA, alright, which you can't use the transformer model in DLAA, by the way, so it's just the anti-aliasing from CNN. This looks a lot softer at 1080p resolution than it did with NIS. It does get rid of a little bit of that pixelation in the shadows and noise and just grain, you know, in the picture. But it also lowers your FPS by quite a bit, as you can see now. Come on, we're getting down into the 70s more often. It just feels a little bit less fluid, although it's still above 60 FPS all of the time, so it's still a very fluid experience indeed. But whenever it starts dropping into those lower 70s and high 60s maybe, you can start noticing the difference, especially if you're used to playing at a very high refresh rate or at like 100 plus FPS on average. This is not going to be 100 plus FPS on average, as you can tell right now. If you prefer the look of DLAA, you know, it's going to be fine of an experience, but I can definitely notice the difference between 110-ish FPS average and what we got now, which was close to 90 FPS average. But let's try it out with some DLSS on quality next. And I'm gonna use the transformer model right away because it's a little bit more intensive, but it looks way better. Also, just in these scenes right here, we can see a bit of that noise and pixelation that was also there with NIS. It was a little bit more emphasized with NIS. DLSS, if you're using the upscaling part of it, it's going to be more noticeable than with DLAA, of course. Let's go. But it's still, yeah, in terms of grain, it's still a little bit better, I think, than NIS native, even with quality DLSS. Which is pretty crazy, actually, because this is essentially rendering the game at 720p resolution at the moment and upscaling it to 1080p. But at the same time, I'm sad about the performance that we're getting here, because it's pretty much the same as it was with NIS, right? And that's native resolution. So I think the DLSS performance should definitely improve by the time the game releases. I hope they look at this and just make it run better with DLSS, because right now, like, what's the point of using DLSS quality at 1080p resolution, right? Wait a second. Let's go. You should just use NIS, which is native. It's going to be sharper than this, and it's going to run with the same FPS. Oh boy. Oh boy. I didn't know the guy was coming back. I think there were two of them actually over there. So yeah, 105 FPS. Way better than DLAA, and if you only had the option to play this game with DLAA or like bad anti-aliasings like TAA, for example, this would be a very good way to play the game, because DLSS quality with transformer model usually looks sharper, even at 1080p resolution. Oh my god, they're everywhere, like two of them at once every single time. It still looks sharper than native resolution with TAA or TSR in the case of EV5 titles. Oh boy. Okay, let me just throw this out. Alright, my boy got him though. Oh, there's another one. Ow, damn it! Okay, so the skill-based matchmaking adjusted itself, I think. But yeah, in this one, guys, I don't think I would play with DLSS quality, honestly. NIS is definitely the way I would do it, but I'm gonna stop it right there, and I'm gonna try something different here. Fidelity FX CAS, because that's also a very good way to play the game if you just need sharpening over native resolution. Look at that, it's a little bit more intensive than DLSS quality. It is softer as well, which is weird. DLSS quality apparently does a really good job. It's only NIS that it's sharper than this. But yeah, I still see a ton of noise and grain. Look at this. Yeah, on the weapon as well. So Fidelity FX CAS looks softer than the native AA from NIS. And it's apparently a little bit more intensive as well. I'm just gonna stay here. Wait. Maybe this is a bad idea. Wait. Come on. Come on. Okay. Okay, we got friends here as well. Let's go, peoples. Let's go, peoples. Come on. Let's go with the pistol. No, not from me. Okay, we're getting 135, 137 FPS here with Fidelity FX CAS. I'm gonna switch to NIS on native. No, don't reset. Apply. Yeah, thank you. And now we're getting pretty much the same FPS, 134, 33, so maybe we'll lose like one frame, but it also is a sharper looking image at the same time, so it's negligible in terms of performance, in terms of visuals. I think it looks better this way, so this is how I'd play the game. If you are into the ultra settings, That was so bad. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What the hell happened there? We were playing so well in the previous one. Now I'm just getting wrecked. 13 to 14. Oh, man. But all right, guys. Given that we get pretty decent FPS here, does that mean that 1440p is going to be playable on this GPU in this game? Let's find out. All right, here we go. 2560 by 1440 resolution is now applied. 100% resolution scale with NIS still, and the ultra settings. And look at that. Okay. All right. I'm digging this. Woo. This is good, guys. I mean, it's 60-ish FPS sometimes. Jeez, these guys are so good. It's 60-ish FPS sometimes, and 70s and 80s. You can definitely tell the difference, especially if you move from an area where you're getting 80 frames per second into an area where you get 60. You can feel the slowdown, but if you lock your FPS, there won't be any well, there will be slowdowns if stuff like that happens, like tons of explosions and... Oh my god, I'm sick of this! Just breathe, Chris, breathe. It's Call of Duty, it's Call of... You knew this was gonna happen. All right, yeah, over here, 60s are feeling pretty choppy, actually. And defeat. Finally, it's over. God damn. We were getting wrecked here. Oh, look, my nemesis is Arkham. Of course, he has the best play as well. Oh my god, look at those quick reactions. Jesus. What the hell, bro? Look at that. See, I respect these people. They like Call of Duty. They play it very well, but it's not for me. All right, so the 1440p performance, is it any good? I think so. For a 4060 at 1440p ultra settings, or what are essentially high settings in this particular title, because it goes from extreme to ultra and then to balanced, which is probably medium, right? I think this is pretty decent. There aren't really many games where you can play with a 4060 these days, at least coming out these days, at 1440p native resolution with high settings and get 60 plus FPS on average. Now, the problem is, it does dip down from 60 FPS into the 50s quite often, especially if you're shooting at a lot of people, seeing a lot of explosion, particle effects. If you die, for example, apparently, it tends to drop into the high 50s, and then it's not as good of an experience. You can feel the slowdown. It will hurt your performance here, your skills, basically. Oh my gosh. Okay, that was actually pretty sick. Oh, come on. All right, we're doing this. What is going on? What is that crap? It's a turret or something. I don't like turrets. Not in Call of Duty, not in Battlefield. I never liked turrets. All right, there we go. All right. Okay, wait a second. You can still play like this, obviously, as you can see, but I would rather play it on low settings or maybe with some upscaling enabled. However, as we saw with upscaling on quality, you get pretty much the same FPS as with NIS native, so yeah. But let's try it out, I guess. Quality DLSS here. Yeah, it's really pretty much the same. It does look better, though. Like, at higher resolutions, upscaling tends to look a lot better, of course. And at 1440p with the transformer model right here, it's like you're using some good anti-aliasing. Whereas previously, it's like you're just sharpening the image, because that's what NIS does. So yeah, this is pretty decent of an experience. Still, it's going to be pretty much the same FPS. It's not amazing, but for a casual gamer, I guess it's okay. But again, you will feel those slowdowns, and those are pretty bad. It just feels really bad in a Call of Duty title when you start dropping from 60 FPS, and I don't really recommend this experience, alright guys? Now, I have not seen it drop from 60 FPS yet, because it's rendering lower resolution, that doesn't happen. I don't know. If that's the case, this is definitely the way to go if you're playing at 1440p and you want to retain some good image quality, or decent image quality. Jack got us. Why, Jack? Why do you hate us so much? Every single time you gotta kill me in games. All right, there we go. Oh boy. Oh boy. No, okay. So I felt the slowdown there into the 60s, but it didn't quite drop into the 50s, and it's not dropping around here with all of these effects. All right. Yeah, quality DLSS is really nice. Oh my god, what am I doing? Oh my god, there are so many of them. See that? Tons of explosion. It only dropped to 60 FPS flat, I think. That's good. good for a 4060 at least. So yeah, if you want to play at 1440p, this is it. These are settings that I would utilize. Again, if you want to retain a bit of that image quality. Now, if you don't care about image quality and you just want to play the game with the highest FPS... Oh, the sound of that, Jesus. With the highest FPS possible, you'll likely want to play it on minimum settings. Okay, so I'm going to keep it on NIS native, minimum settings here. And the only option I'm going to touch is texture resolution. I'm going to set that to normal. Because we can run normal textures here. It doesn't really affect FPS and it just makes the game look a little bit prettier. Okay, so it's compiling the shaders now. It's finishing it in just a little bit, but let's go over the settings. We're at 1080p resolution again. All right, I came back to 1080p, and we're now using the same minimum settings, native resolution there on NIS, normal textures. Minimum settings aren't the actual complete minimum in the game. There are some things that are still enabled. But hey, it's the name of the preset. Let's go. All right, so let's go, guys. This is it. Competitive settings, you could call them, on the RTX 4060. And we're now getting very similar FPS to what the RTX 5090 had at 4K maximum settings. Very interesting. All right. So 150s, it feels really buttery smooth, of course. It's still native resolution, so it will look sharp and detailed and a little bit pixelated in some ways, but who cares, really? You're here for a competitive experience if you want to play at these settings, and a competitive experience is exactly what you're gonna get with this. 120 FPS plus pretty much at all times, even with explosions happening. I think it's going to be possible. Oh my god! I like the fact that you can't double run in this game now. Otherwise, it would make it even faster of an experience in terms of movement. And I think it's fast enough already. It's definitely faster than I'd like anyways, but I'm not the core fan of this series. Come on, come on, come on, come on. The core audience, you know. Let's go. Whoop! Damn! Alright, what an interesting timing there. Oh boy. But yeah, guys, absolutely great experience here. Nothing to complain about with the 4060 using these settings. This is really good. And again, there's absolutely no need for upscaling here, because that just gets you lower FPS, or pretty much the same FPS with a lower resolution. And this looks really good already, and since we don't have as much detail in the picture as with ultra settings, this ends up looking cleaner as well, and less shimmery, less pixelated, less grainy, basically. Yeah, that's the most, or the biggest difference. There's still a lot of grain, of course, over there, for example, but some other things, like the weapon grain, aren't there anymore, because there aren't any shadows on the weapon. All right. Oh man, that was weird. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to jump from there to there. But alright, that happens now in Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Alright, all good. Alright, really solid experience, guys. And we actually won that one. 161 FPS average, 111 1% lows. It's flawless. I can't really fault it. It's buttery smooth, zero stutters. That's the thing that I like the most, I think, about this game at the moment. The optimization and the performance are really good. But I still want to check it out in the exposure map, which I feel like is going to be a little bit more intensive, maybe. Okay, so it seems like it's pretty much the same thing as the previous map, guys. 170s, 180s, maybe it's a little bit less demanding. Oh, the noise over here. But no, it drops to about the same values, 160s, 150s at times, especially if you're killing other people. Oh, there we go. That was a nice one. I mean, my teammates did everything there, and I just finished off the kill, but okay. It's fine, guys. It's going to be a great experience, basically. Let's try it out at the 1440p resolution when I die. Oh, there we go. And here we have it, 2560 by 1440, using same low settings with normal textures and NIS to sharpen the image. And now at 1440p, it's going to be a really smooth experience, as you can see, guys. Like, Yeah, this is the way to play at 1440. I would play all day long like this. Obviously, there are people out there who care more about the graphics, the visuals, than the FPS that they get at 1440p with the 4060. In that case, ultra-static quality DLSS was also a really good option, staying above 60 at all times. But here... come on, okay. I just keep shooting at my friends. Oi, hello. Ooh, that pistol packs a big punch. Damn. Come on. Let's go. So it's not going to be as high refresh rate of an experience, obviously, as 1080p resolution was. You're not going to max out a 144Hz monitor anymore, or 120Hz monitor. But it's still really smooth. It's way smoother than it was on Ultra. And it's smoother still than Ultra settings at 1080p resolution. So... yeah, this is definitely a good way to play the game with a 1440p monitor. I've felt a couple of slowdowns maybe so far. As when the FPS dropped to like 80 frames, it's noticeable when you're at 120 and then it suddenly drops to 80, but I mean, it's still very good. In terms of CPU performance, I'd like to take a look at... oh, damn it. At another CPU, but unfortunately, I can't at the moment because, again, my other PC is just not having it with Call of Duty. Maybe it hates it more than I do. I don't hate Call of Duty, honestly. I hate their business practices and so on, but the games, yeah, I mean, they're fine for some people. I can respect that. Come on. Come on, okay. That was really close. There are people over there. Wait, bad people. I couldn't... oh, no, I didn't know that you could go there. I was gonna say I didn't know, but I do. Who cares? Let's keep on going. Let's go. Alright, we got the hard point over here. Ah, we were doing great there for a second. 17 to 13, not too bad. I keep complaining about how poorly I'm doing, but... I bet there are people playing a lot worse than I am. It just feels like I'm playing worse because you keep dying and dying and getting back into it so quickly, and it's just... yeah, it's the Call of Duty way. Dopamine, 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 and you die, you die, you die, you die. You think you're dying a lot of times, but no, in reality you actually got more eliminations than deaths. Oh, no, no, not from behind. What the heck? Where is he? There he is. He was 1 HP. Still counts as an elimination, though. That's probably why I have more eliminations than deaths. So I'm not doing that well after all. Alright. We got this, though. There we go. Alright. 3 kills in a row. That's not too bad. There we go. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. What is happening? Pick me, buddy. Pick me! No! And you know what, guys? I'm curious to see that 4K resolution next. So we're at 4K now, using NIS native still. Alright. Oh, this is so clean looking. It's so sharp compared to everything that we've seen so far. But it does dip down into the 50s when you die, unfortunately. However, maybe with performance DLSS, things are going to look good and perform better than this, so... yeah, the performance DLSS is very adequate for 4K resolution gaming. Well, I guess I can actually change that, so let's go. DLSS on... come on. DLSS on performance, transformer model, let's see. Yeah, definitely a lot better than native 4K resolution, obviously. Like this performance DLSS, it's rendering the game at 1080p resolution and upscaling it to 4K. It looks good. It looks very similar, as I told you, to the native resolution stuff here at 4K resolution. So you could possibly, like, lock the FPS to 60 here, have a 4K visual experience, low settings, because you need low settings if you want to achieve playable FPS in Call of Duty, you know, like, you need 60 plus, or 60 flat. Alright, there we go, finally. I did not get the kill, but we got the elimination. Yeah, 80 FPS definitely a lot better and feeling a lot better than 60 FPS. But the thing is... oh, I'm tagged. Hello? The thing is, it fluctuates so much. It drops into the 60s and 70s sometimes, and you can notice that, so... it messes up with my brain and muscle memory and stuff like that, so... I wouldn't really recommend it too much. It's just like at 1440p quality DLSS in ultra settings. For some people, it's fine. Some people can't even notice the difference between 60 FPS or the difference between getting 80 FPS and then dropping to 60 FPS for a second, you know. I can. Over here, for example, it was noticeable to me. And in that case, I would prefer to lock it to 60 and have a sustained 60 like all of the time, you know, without dropping at all, than this experience with a lot of fluctuations. If you have a 4K monitor with a 4060, play like this. It's going to look 4K, it's going to be fine, it's going to get you good FPS, 60 flat all of the time, at least, which is decent. And it's going to be a console-like experience. I bet the consoles also run this game at 60 FPS in some modes, right? So, it's fine. Let's see. Can I get another one, please? Thank you. All right. Oh, man. Whoop. There we go. Whoop. Oh, I see why these people are doing so well. They have very nice weapons. I just picked this up. This was on the ground. Somebody else was using it from the other team. And it's so much better. It kills people in like 3 or 4 shots. My gun was terrible compared to this. Look at this. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm feeling it now. Okay. Come on. Whoop. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah, dropping into the 60s there, by the way. That was noticeable. Alright, people all died here. Oh boy, what is that? I don't know. There's a guy there. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm doing this. What is that? Oh, that's just Jack from my team. Good stuff. Wait. There we go. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, it was the weapon all along. Are you kidding me? I should be finishing the video by now, actually, but... Hey, now I'm playing well. Oh, victory is ours. Never mind. So that's it, guys. Is it me? Yes, best play. Look at that. And it's with that weapon. Of course. Damn, this is really good. Now see Jack over here. Will I get another one? Yeah, that one coming. Yeah. Only 3 kills for the best play? Nobody else did anything? Oh, there's another one there at least. All right, that's probably my best game so far here in this title. Not bad, but you could say that I'm nitpicking a little bit when I'm saying, like, the drops from 80 FPS to 60s, they're terrible and whatnot. They're not. It's really playable, really smooth anyways, but it just messes a little bit with your muscle memory, which is important in a competitive shooter. So, yeah, that's been it for this one, my friends. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be back tomorrow with a very interesting review on a mini PC with the best iGPU in the market, so stay tuned in for that. I'll be sure to introduce a bit of Black Ops 7 into that as well. So see you then. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.